This is Pete from Eurovision. So today we're going to talk about the San Marino entry. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a few of the exciting things that have happened in Liverpool today, or things that I've noticed. First of all, my lanyards that I ordered from the Eurovision website arrived. I'm not on commission. But there's two lanyards available this year. There's this one with the slogan "United by Music," and you also get this nice plastic card that says "You'll never sing alone" on it. And then there's the other lanyard, which is quite similar to the one that I got in Lisbon, but it's a blue and red lanyard. It's got the Ukraine flag on it and the Eurovision symbol. I'm going to wear it. Screw it. I'm a geek. But yeah, hey. And then the other really exciting thing is the flags promoting the contest are now appearing all over the city, and not just in the city centre, out towards a place called Speak, where the retail park is near the airport. There's flags up on the roundabouts, and on Edge Lane, which is as you come off the motorway and head into Liverpool, there are flags all the way along there as well. So it's really looking great, and it's great that the city are getting behind it with a month to go. Anyway, I digress. San Marino. San Marino first took part in the contest in 2008, and they did so well that they didn't appear for another 2 years. That's actually not quite true. There was a financial issue, but anyway. They then appeared in 2011 and have been in the contest ever since. More famously, they had Valentina appear 3 times in succession, making her the first artist to appear 3 times in a row since the 1960s. Last year, they didn't qualify, and that sort of sets the record for San Marino because they've only qualified for the contest 3 times since they've been taking part in the competition. And I would say last year they did not manage to qualify. Their selection procedure is one of the more unusual ones. It's a competition called Una Voce por San Marino. That may be wrong, I'm sorry. But it's quite a drawn-out affair. It takes hundreds of singers with songs, puts them through an audition process, gives them 5 semi-finals, I think, plus a second chance round, plus a grand final. And the grand final was judged by 5 judges, one of whom was Albano, who represented Italy in 1976 and 1984 with his then wife, Romina Powell. I tried to watch some of it. It's a very drawn-out affair. It goes on for quite a while. There's a lot of references to a shopping mall that I think was sponsoring the contest. But yeah, the winners were a group called Piqued Jacks with the song "Like an Animal." Now, I've not heard the song at all. I tried to sort of watch it. I've heard there's a bit of people have said a few things about the lyrics, which we'll listen to and we'll talk about in a little bit. So yeah, I was going to say something else, but we'll leave that till after the review. As always, you don't see me react to the song. If I do it, it looks really boring and false and fake. If I try and do any type of things, it just doesn't look right. So I don't do them. Anyway, and copyright as well. So this is San Marino's entry that I'm going to listen to. Piqued Jacks with "Like an Animal." Right. There's some really nice bits to this song. I like the opening little guitar bit before it kicks off into the actual song itself. And the verses, they've got to sort of put the lyrics to one side and listen to the guitar work and the drums and that sort of drum work and the guitar work. You've actually got to, I mean, the guitar work is very sort of 1 or 2 notes played sort of slowly, but actually it's got a very sort of mid-80s U2 feel to it. It sort of reminds me a little bit of a sort of like a demo version of The Unforgettable Fire by U2. The verses, not the chorus. But even again, put the lyrics to one side and listen to just sort of the sound of it. The actual chorus is it's got quite a nice sort of flowing feel to it. And again, the lyrics, the way they're sung, sort of "Come on, baby, come on, find me." It's got that sort of feeling that one line bleeds into the other. So it's quite I shouldn't say it's quite a neat little track. And he's got a good voice, I think, and those big notes at the end, I think, are well performed and they're done live. There's quite clearly backing vocals that are pre-recorded in the song because the other guys in the band aren't singing when you can hear other voices. Um, but unfortunately, I just think even with that and the big notes, I don't think it's enough to save the song. Um, from what I saw of the national final video, let's talk about the lyrics. I mean, some of the lyrics for a start don't make sense. Come and find me, I can smell you like an animal. And then he says, I'll chase you on the dance floor. Well, is she finding you or are you chasing them? It's all a bit unusual. There's a lyric about you have a biting tongue. Well, tongues don't bite, teeth bite. Now, whether she means she's got a biting tongue as in she says horrible things, as in, you've got a biting sense of humor or you've got a... Sorry, the connection just decided to go completely there. Yeah, so whether she means a biting tongue as in somebody who says mean-spirited things rather than an actual tongue that bites, because that would be unusual. And I can smell you like an animal. It's all just a bit sort of... It conjures up images of Hannibal. Sort of, you're wearing this perfume. I can't remember which one it is, but Hannibal going, I can smell you like an animal. It's all a bit weird. And again, chase you on the dance floor. That's a very predatory lyric, and I think things have moved on a lot, and that we're more aware, and we are made more aware by advertising of how we should behave on nights out in clubs and pubs and things, and actually chasing people around dance floors and saying we can smell them like animals is probably not the the greatest thing to be talking about. So I think the lyrics are a little bit problematic, and some of them are just a bit nonsensical in my view. Musically, 2 minutes in, you've heard the chorus 3 times. It's a song that sort of loses its direction. If you've heard the chorus 3 times, 2 minutes in, what are you going to do with your final minute? And what they do is he throws out some really big notes. There's a slight interlude. It's not middle eight, but there's a slight interlude before those big notes. But he does a big note 3 or 4 times, and he does it successfully. He can clearly reach those notes. He does it really well. But yeah, it's just a song that... It's a shame, actually, because I think, like I say, I do think there's bits of it that are really pleasant and really neat. Not too musically taxing. The bass line is not all that difficult. Even I could probably do it. But it's a nice one to listen to until you've listened to it for more than a minute. And then it just sort of loses its way, and it doesn't know what to do, and it doesn't do a key change. Apparently, there's no key changes this year. It feels like... I feel like it was a solid, good first minute if you put the lyrics to one side, and then it just repeats itself, and then it doesn't know how to end. So that's a real shame. It's in semi-final 2, so 6 songs will not qualify, and it's drawn 12th. So it's in that sort of post 2/3 of the way through that sort of does well. If you look at the graphs of how these things do, they tend to tail off around about songs sort of 12 to 14 before doing well again for songs 15 and 16. So if it's in that sort of tail group of sort of 10, 11, 12 that does all right, it should be okay in that regard, if you believe how the statistics play out. I think it's probably nice enough that people might pick up the phone for it in the semi-final if they can just put the lyrics out of their mind. I don't think, from what I've heard of Piqued Jacks, I don't think they went out to write an overtly creepy song. I think they just wanted to write a song about liking a woman. And it's fair to say that Piqued Jacks and the San Marino delegation this year have had a really rough time with things. And to the point where in Spain, they were sort of... people were shouting for Renhi, the last year's Albanian entry who took part for San Marino's final. People were shouting for her. Now, let's clear that up. She had to get to the final via the second chance round of the San Marino final. I don't think there was ever a chance of her winning this if she had to come through the second chance round. And cheering for another song when you've won the competition is just not on. I hope they come to Liverpool. Well, they obviously... Sorry, I'll start that again. They'll come to Liverpool. I hope they have a great time. I hope they perform really well on the night. I look forward to seeing them. but I think there's stronger songs in the second semi-final this year. So yeah, I hate being negative about songs because you don't want to be, and I always try and find positive things, such as how the song feels. And actually, as I think about it now, it's sort of in, it's in my head, so it's done its job in that respect. So who knows? I don't know anything. I think to summarize what I'm saying, I think it's like I say, it's a good first 45 seconds to a minute of song, and then it just sort of loses direction. But the guy can sing, and if you put the lyrics to one side, he sings really well. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Comment, like, share, and of course subscribe to Eurovision, where I bring you opinion and commentary direct from Liverpool, the home of the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.